We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome to Perspectives Corner. I am your host, Rhona Bennett. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be back in the studio this evening. It is a pleasure to have you back in the studio with me. We've been having some good conversations up here of late, huh, Shakim? Matter of fact, let me just welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, my boy, Shakim Williams, to the show.
Thank you very much, Rhona. And once again, it's always a pleasure to be in your perspective. And also in your corner. Let me tell you, how cheesy can I get today?
You know I love your cheesiness. Just bring it on. Thank you for holding down the boards for me, like usual.
Thank you.
And you know I'm looking forward to you chiming in whenever you feel it, because I like to pick your brain and tap into your fabulous wisdom. So feel free to jump in on tonight's topic.
Okay, so what you got going on tonight,
Don't you want to know?
I want to know.
Tonight, I am welcoming back behavior modification specialist Lemuel Edmondson.
Thank you.
Please give my brother a hand clap.
There you go. Let's
because the last time Lem was here, we had a wonderful conversation about loving oneself, but then that took us on a whole other thing. Usually that's what happens here. We end up in great conversations. We talk about things on the surface, and then we end up diving deep. Yeah. So tonight, I don't anticipate that it will be any different.
Nope.
We always have a wonderful exchange. We're going to be chopping it up about being equally yoked. Ooh, right?
Ooh.
I mean, like, what are we really talking about?
That's deep.
Because when I thought about it, I said, well, first and foremost, I want to establish what is being equally yoked. I mean, a lot of us, including myself, I'm interested to find out what is the general consensus surrounding being equally yoked. Can you grow apart and still have been equally yoked? Don't answer the question. What are the telltale signs for knowing that you're equally yoked? What are the telltale signs that you're barking up the wrong tree? Right. These are some of the things I want to know tonight, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners would like to know as well. So we're going to jump into that aspect of the topic. What's been going on with you?
Well, bro, I've been busy. Just, I love my Instagram followers. Shout out to my Instagram followers. Hey. And I've been writing. I've been working on some other projects regarding my writing, helping people with their issues. I have clients that I actually counsel from here to the West Coast to East Coast. So I've enjoyed that.
Yes.
And I'm excited about some of the things that's happening. I can't talk about them, but I'm excited.
Look at him holding.
Yeah.
I love it, though. And please shout out your Instagram handle so that people can find you.
It is 1112. It's actually The Truth 1112.
The Truth
1112. Yes.
Definitely a great follow. Thought-provoking content on a regular basis, which is why your following has grown and your clients.
Yes, absolutely. I get about 50 to 100 emails a day.
50 to 100 emails a day.
Yes, and asking about relationship questions. Tell me about this. Can you help me with this?
And isn't that interesting that after all these years of being on the planet, we are still so clueless about how to be in a successful relationship?
Right. It's amazing that it is a topic that you see. It's in every movie. It's all over the internet. Everything is about being in a relationship. So, and at this point in time, 2014, we are still dumbfounded.
And you know what? It's getting a little trickier, I think, because now you've added in the elements of social media, where the access to your soulmate has expanded itself in exponential numbers.
Absolutely.
Whereas my parents, shout out to Joe and Sandra Bennett.
Shout out.
They have been married for 44 years now, but they came from the same town. Shout out to mom and dad. They came from the same town.
Right.
They didn't have all of, this distractions that we have nowadays. And I wonder, of course, there are successful relationships out there right now, but on a majority basis, people are very distracted.
Yes. Yes.
I'm finding that we have so many options.
Yes. They're talking. Now we're going somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna stop right there.
We're going somewhere now.
So when we come back off of the break, we are going to be talking about being equally yoked, and I'm pretty sure this is going to take us into some other avenues.
Absolutely.
So you've been listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. I look forward to having you back.
Giving up is hard to do. When you really love someone, giving up so hard to do.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Her kiss and her caress, oh, that used to mean so much. And bring you happiness. Oh, giving up so hard to do.
Hey, welcome back to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Thank you. Are you bringing this for Lim? So thank you for joining us this evening. We are talking about being equally yoked. We have Mr. Lemuel Edmondson, who is a behavior modification specialist, back at Perspectives Corner. The first time was maybe back in April.
Right, absolutely.
And we had a great conversation.
Yes, we did.
And we were like, you got to come back.
Yes.
And tonight he was even saying that, you know, oh man, we need to get another show where we talking about that love thing.
Right.
And I'm like, we're going to get there in this conversation. Okay. I don't see how we can avoid it.
We can.
But I know he's got like crazy notes over here. So he knows where he wants to go. I don't know where he's going. I know what I'd like to know.
Right.
Let's start out with understanding what it means to be equally yoked.
Okay. When we get the word again from 2 Corinthians 6:14, equally yoked, it was talking in the Bible about, it wasn't even talking about marriage, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. It was talking about believers and unbelievers commingling, intersecting their belief systems.
Okay.
And then when you break it down, I broke it down to this point where it talked about oxen were unequally yoked. They cannot perform the task set before them. Instead of working together, they were at odds with one another. I thought that was interesting. And this whole at odds are two things pulling in different directions. That really stuck with me in my research. And I thought about this and I said, let me relate this when we talk about two people trying to relate to each other. And they're pulling in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Initially, when we meet individuals, this is a very important thing I pulled up as well. Understanding in communication principles, there's a disconnect in our interpersonal communication, and I'll say it like this: what I want from you is blocking me from what you're trying to tell me about yourself. We come to the table with predispositions. I know what I want.
Okay.
Whether I'm going to tell you that up front or not is what happens. So here's what's going on. I'm trying to listen to who you are and the story that you're presenting to me, But at the same time, that's filtered through what I want from you.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, well, are we compatible? Are we compatible in terms of our core belief values and systems?
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about integrity and character, is that paramount to, am I going to be with you, or is that a backdrop?
Mm-hmm.
Let me go here real quick.
Okay.
So when we go we date now, our generation, it's very interesting. We go to fancy restaurants and we get caught up in the ambiance. You know, I went to Mastro's and I ordered this. And I noticed that a lot of the conversation that is being had is on a superficial, very dense level.
Uh-huh.
We're not, and I'm not saying you're supposed to attack people right away. Well, tell me about this. But there's a way for you to finesse and get the information necessary to determine, is this worth my time, allocation of time, based upon where I've been, some of the things I've experienced, and based upon where I'm going. So the key to dating is to find out what drives the person's life.
Hello.
That's the key. If I had to sum it up, all of this
and to see if that runs parallel to what drives your life.
Absolutely.
Because I was going to ask you, what are some of the telltale signs you think for finding out if you're equally yoked with someone, and what are some of the telltale signs that you're not?
Right.
So you're saying it comes down to pretty much this basic principle: find out what's driving the other person and see if that is parallel to or complementary of what drives you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And why is that important? Here's what's going to happen. At some point in time, as we get to know each other, we're going to start, the envelope is going to be unveiled. The envelope of who I am versus who you think I am versus who I want you to think I am. You got all these things going on.
Yes.
And the only way for me to kind of figure out through all of that, let's just say plunder, for me to figure out what's real and what's not real, is I've got to set forth my core principles. I got to know what I want. I got to know what I'm expecting from you. And then we have to be as forthwith or transparent enough for us to be able to lay that on the table. Now, how often does that happen?
You know what's interesting that you bring that up? I'm thinking that this is along the same lines.
Right.
I was speaking to a friend of mine today who's been married for 21 years.
Okay.
And she said, one of the first things that we did before they got married is they went to marriage counseling.
Wow.
First.
And
they got real about, what do you expect from me? Do you expect me to wash the dishes all the time? Or do you expect me to do laundry? How do you see women in the kitchen? They broke it all the way down.
Right.
So that you could understand the person's mindset behind what they expected of their partner.
Right.
And then that gives you a more clear, vision of how you want to approach your relationship. And they decided in that marriage counseling session to create an agreement about, if the other person, I don't know what else was in their agreement, but one of the specific terms was, if the other person feels like we need to do marriage counseling, you have to go. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Wow, I love it. That's powerful.
That's very powerful. I didn't think to dig into something like, what do you think? Do you think women are supposed to, do this? Or do you think men are supposed to operate like that? Or how do you see, of course, raising your kids? What those things are very important. But just going to those mundane activities.
Right. The everyday things that we take for granted.
Yes.
How you want to have your house. What is your hygiene preference or level versus my level? What do you think is a clean house versus not a clean house? I mean, stuff like that. We think that doesn't mean anything. But you'd be surprised how many arguments are over. I know he's ready. He's ready. How many arguments we're having over those things, really. Yes. But those arguments are related to root issues. But those can bring, look, he's ready. Mm-hmm. But those can be like the triggers.
Yes.
Those can be triggers to more deeper root issues that we have not discussed prior to cohabitating.
Yes.
And prior to just trying to get to know each other.
What would you say? Just give me an example of when you say that's it's getting ready to scratching the surface of a deeper issue, like what?
Well, for instance, I'll tell you this. A lot of the values that we have or belief system we have, they come from the environments that we grew up in.
Yeah.
And, there's some things about our childhood, our environment. Sometimes we're not honest about, or we have not truly dealt with all of the issues that we've encountered.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening when I now am in a serious relationship where I'm cohabitating, those things come up.
Yeah.
All the things that we've suppressed throughout our lifetime that we haven't reconciled at the point we're supposed to. Let me tell you why. In the urban community, counseling is taboo. Girl, you going to a shrink, you crazy. That's the thought. We've always looked at that as, that's not for me, that's for, and in other communities.
For the crazy people.
Right. But in other communities, they've always relied on counsel. And if you want to go to the Bible, he who seeks counsel is wise. If you need to go there. But the truth of the matter is, we have been able to slide through and suppress our issues until they reach a boiling point, which is now they're your issues because we're dating.
Yeah.
And now we live together. And I didn't deal with that thing back then.
Absolutely.
So now what? So you didn't put the toilet seat up. Now I got a problem with you. You don't respect me because you keep leaving the toilet seat up. That's disrespectful to me. You see I'm falling in. Well, triggers. Those are triggers.
Yes.
Those are triggers. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Shakim.
Please.
So, and great point, great analogy, great breakdown. What happens when you're in that relationship for that period of time, 5, 10 years, whatever, sometimes 2, sometimes 6 months.
Yes.
Right.
And then people change.
Well, that's what I was, trying to get at earlier. Very good question.
Right.
What about when you do think that you're equally yoked?
Right.
Or let's take it even one step further. Let's say that because I've experienced this, outside looking in, been together for 20, 30 years.
Right.
You decide that you want to do something else.
Right.
It's not what I'm used to of who you are.
Right.
Does that mean we're not equally yoked anymore?
No. Well,
5 years into a relationship, 10 years, you could change your mind about
You can change your mind. We have to, it's interesting. Human beings, we change like the weather and prices. We're always subject to change. We have to leave room for people to evolve. And you'd be surprised how some individuals go into relationships thinking it was one thing, and they don't realize they don't even leave room for themselves to change.
Hello.
Let me give you I'll give you an example. There are housewives who had a dream, who let their dream go to get married at 25. The American dream, get married at 25, have 2.5 kids, and realize, you know what? I'm not happy at 40. I'm 40. I gave my entire life to my kids, my husband, this lifestyle, and I still have something inside of me that's boiling, that's brewing, my purpose. And now I don't want this no more. My kids are grown. I want to do me now. I wrote a piece. It was so important. I said for single moms who are not married, but single moms who are raising children.
Yeah.
I wrote a piece that says it's not fair for me to have to wait till my kids grow up for me to finally discover who I am. And it was a killer on there. But that's happening in households where people are married in relationships. They don't get to know who they are until it's 5, 10, 20 years later. And I realized, I don't even love you like I thought I did.
What does that mean,
Let me tell you what that means. That means that my life, the things that I need are important to me at 21 are not important at 35.
How do you evolve with your partner?
Now we talking. Because here's the thing. This is the reason why the beginning of the relationship, the seeds that are planted to figure out, is this a person that fits in my life? There's a good look now, or is this somebody I can grow with later on? Do the values, the core principles, what's driving our life?
Yeah.
Is it driving our lives for right now? Or is it going to continue to drive us as we continue to change? I don't know what my change is going to look like. I can't make promises to you, but I can tell you this. You've got to be able to move like the waves of the water. You got to be able to have buoyancy. Like your client, like the couple you talked about. We made an agreement that if one person says we need to go counseling, everybody goes to counseling. We have to have checks and balances in some areas. Some things are non-negotiable. Am I your friend? Are we just having sex?
Huge.
What? Are we friends? I mean, do we see each other? Do we have conversations that really have substance?
Right.
That stimulate my mind?
Right.
Or is it just, I'm ready to have kids right now. I'm ready to get married right now. I want a house.
And that does drive a lot of people's choices.
Right now. Right. I want those things.
Trying to fit into the paradigm of what they think they're supposed to be doing right now. Right. Maybe this is what you really, really want. So you're just trying to find somebody halfway good enough to do it with.
halfway good enough.
But then you end up, hurting yourself in the long run.
Yes, and I think it's a testament when you see individuals later on at 35, 40 have an epiphany, that come to Jesus moment where they're like, I don't think this is where I'm supposed to be. And it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so surreal. Mm-hmm. You can imagine you've devoted 20 years of your life to this, and now you have this one moment where you're like, I don't want to do this no more.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, though? So since you have made that kind of investment, what do you think about that?
I think a lot of times communication has been broken. Mm-hmm. I think, and if it's not broken, maybe the person's not being honest with themselves. Maybe it's something that maybe one person wants to open up, but I think the other person may be like, you know what, I really have not been honest with myself. I've gone this whole time and denied areas in my life that have not been growing.
Yeah.
And I've done it because I wanted to fit into the status quo. I had a responsibility to take care of my kids. We got mortgages. We got all these different responsibilities that we've accumulated.
Yeah.
And now I just didn't want to take steps back. I feel like that was a step back. And then I got to listen to my family who are telling me what their opinion is.
Right.
What I should do.
Right.
Then I'm worried about what people are going to think if I leave them. You know what I'm saying? You built up this whole big facade and now you don't want it no more. Mm-hmm. Shame on you.
Ouch. Ouch. So I guess let's speak to those people, because I'm sure there are people out there, possibly even listening tonight, that are saying, okay, so yeah, that's me. I built the facade. I don't want it anymore. But do I have to throw my life away because I did that? Right. Let's speak to them and maybe make some suggestions as to what they can do in the moment. Right. And you're not throwing your life away, but you make an adjustment. How do we make those adjustments now that you know that you've built this facade? Right. What do I do now?
Well, it's never too late for counseling.
Hello.
It's never too late to seek some counseling. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we need an outside perspective to bring clarity and perspective to the situation.
Yes.
So we're not just impulsively letting our emotions just run all over the place. Because if we do that, we just walk out of the house like, I'm done.
You surely would.
But just walk out. I'm done. I don't, but we need to take a step back. Mm-hmm. You have a right to feel what you feel. But let's before we just do something abruptly, let's take a step back and let's seek some counseling. Let's see some steps, baby steps that we can take to get what you want, but without tearing up everything that you built up.
Exactly.
To get it.
And I think it's also important to be willing to look honestly at yourself.
At yourself. Self-evaluation.
Go ahead and do the tough work.
The work.
Of sitting down and allowing yourself to face your fears, writing them out, whatever you have to do to acknowledge them.
Right.
And then making some more empowered choices around how you can get rid of that or reduce it. I don't know what it is, whatever that fear is. Right. And then work that with your spouse, work that with your partner. Right. Have them come into the picture and help you through the moment because of your honesty and vulnerability.
Right.
Maybe a lot of people are holding,
Well, there's guilt. There's guilt that I'm feeling selfish.
And shame.
This is not fair for me to do this. Why am I doing this to him or her or why did I wait this long? Mm-hmm.
Why did I do this to myself?
Why did I do this to myself? All of that there's a way we can work it out. Oh, wonderful.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. You're listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Who's there?
It's Real Talk from Cleveland.
This voice sounds very familiar. What's going on with you?
I wanted to speak to the issue of equally yoked.
All right.
Because how often is a man and a woman equally yoked in a relationship? Mm. We live in a society where men are paid more than women on an average. And so, as a man, we learn to be maybe 60% to 70% to 80% yoked. What is a yoke? I mean, I hope y'all define that, right, on the show, right?
We can come back to it. Yeah, we can come back to what the yoke is since you're bringing it up, because then maybe some people missed it or, just tuned in, so that's good.
I mean, yoke is a heavy burden about the neck.
Right. Right. We talked about that. Right.
Word. And so men in this society who are most often not equally yoked tend to meet women who bring a percentage to the table. That's understood, and that's good. But at what point does that balance strike what is known as, or what you are referring to as, equal?
Yeah.
The
That's a good question because, I mean, you know, a lot of relationships are out there where people are bringing different things to the table. And what somebody might deem as valuable or more valuable or less valuable, it's all relative to the people talking about it. You may come in with more financial freedom, more, you know, a better career, quote unquote, whatever those things are. How do you know what equally yoked is? But we talked about that earlier.
Right, we did.
You said what's driving each other.
The driving motivation of each individual as it pertains to their life goals, their direction. What's the purpose of your life? Where are you going? When we look at the core values of the individual, are you dependable, reliable, loyal, committed, consistent, honest, efficient? Those principles seem to be lost for a lot of the topics that he brought up. It's talking about financial security,
Yes.
which is important. But if you don't have those core values, sometimes that isn't enough.
Yeah, because if you hit a financial crisis,
Crisis.
you need those core values holding you
to
together.
sustain the relationship.
Yeah.
So when we get back to the equally yoked and being yoked, you know, it's funny. I'll put it to you like this. I had a scenario that came up today. It was very interesting. When individuals, for whatever reason, decide to withhold information when they meet each other, because people don't consider lies of omission a sin or a problem or an issue. Meaning, I didn't lie,
but I didn't
tell you. You know, I just thought that information wasn't important. Well, when you do that, you're making decisions on behalf of someone else, and you're saying that they couldn't handle that subconsciously. And when you do that, you take a person's choice. And let me tell you how important that is. The one concept of love is it gives a choice. It gives each individual a choice. I get to choose if I want to engage in this situation with you based upon the information presented to me. If you withhold information, we already are unequally yoked.
Interesting.
Because there's an imbalance.
Interesting.
There's an
But
imbalance
what
of
if I love her, man, and she lies? I love y'all too.
I love that. He said, if
But
I
I
love her.
love you,
But I
baby.
love you. You know when the first principles of love is? The first principles? Respect. If you don't have respect, you don't have love. I can't be impressive enough about that concept. People talk about love and they have so many different definitions.
Yeah.
But if you don't have respect, and this goes for friendships, business relationships, personal relationships,
All kinds of relationships.
all of them, you don't have what you need for that love to grow or even to manifest. Go ahead.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to piggyback one of the other ways that I learned to term love, which I found very profound and meaningful to me. A state of allowance.
Wow. I like that. A state of allowance.
And that really piggybacks you saying, you're making the choice for me that I can't handle. Allow. Can you allow me to be that which I am, and I allow you to be that which you are?
Wow.
And express that which you are, and
Where's
a state of allowance.
The acceptance. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Have you guys ever heard of like opposites attract?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And likes repel, or can you think two negative people can fall in love with each other and live a blissful life?
To negative people? That's like how can you have bliss with negativity?
Because they're in their own blitz.
You think that's a negative
negativity.
bliss?
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you were
Not my
saying
bliss,
the
but
whole,
you know.
of course,
I
not.
feel you.
Right.
But the whole equally yoked is
Right.
finding somebody that's going to put up with your shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That has compatible baggage.
balance.
Or yes.
You know
It's
what
a
I'm
balance. Right.
Because like he was saying earlier, we always striving for balance.
Right.
Right. That's what we're fighting for, this covenant.
Yeah.
That we're
Okay.
that I like to call it the covenant.
I like that. Go ahead.
But but the reality of it is that when people change, whether people get older, they get less, whether they get senile, they get whatever,
Right.
Bodily function stop,
Right.
it's something else other than love.
Right. Right. There you go. There it is.
It has to be
That's
because-
driving them.
because love will soon run out.
Well, see, that's why I think love could have that other definition on it, a state of allowance.
I love that.
That is love.
Right.
Allowing me to be that which I am, allowing you to be that which you are.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and being able to build from that, but still being able to say, look, I can put up with your shit.
Right.
I can deal with your baggage.
Right.
Can you deal
I
with my
choose to deal with your baggage, or you choose to
Right.
deal with
You know what
mine.
I'm saying? Regardless of however much money
Right.
Yeah.
money you
You
don't
Don't
ride or
have.
die, baby.
Yeah, that
Right.
kind of mentality, because
Right.
that's the covenant. Because once love, after 10, 15 years, people fall out of love.
Well, I think. Okay,
But
see, that's an
something-
interesting way to
But-
say it.
But something else drives them to
Yeah.
say that, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just repetition. Man,
Well, it can get-
I've been doing this for so long. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or the children,
Right.
or the house, or the things. But there's something else that happens. Like my grandparents was together for like 60,
Right.
65 some
Right.
years. I'm
Right.
like, how do they do that?
Right.
Something else is going on.
Right.
Because I know she was sitting there thinking many a day, this mother, you get on my mother.
Right.
I wish I would, if I have to see your face.
But you know what? I'm about to say something really cute right now. You just said a trigger word that reminded me of an experience I just had 2-3 days ago. Okay? I was at the doctor's office, and there was a gentleman, older gentleman, came out. And he goes, "Where's the most?" As he comes out of the office, "Where's the most beautiful girl in the world?" He's looking around the office. He said this loud, okay, in the little holding area, and she's like, putting her stuff away, and he's like, "There she is." And he said, Woody, he had this great personality, obviously.
Right.
And he was, talking, and he ended up talking to me and then the lady, and he was like, "Yeah, we've been married for 65 years. That's my girl." Some people love each other, man. Some people have been through so many ups and downs that there is this and that's the thing about sticking it out in love. If I could encourage, people who are together that have been together and they did find somebody that they thought they were equally yoked with, and you're having a moment right now.
Right.
Hold on to the love if you can, because I've known a few people that have almost given up.
Right.
And I'll say one couple in particular, I remember I was like, dang, I'm surprised they actually stuck it out.
Right.
But there is a deeper level of friendship and intimacy
Yes.
that they get to experience
Absolutely.
and enjoy
Absolutely.
because they did.
Because they make, I mean, you're right on it. Here's the thing, we talk about equally yoked. We don't talk about that. Just it's the beginning. It's an evolution as well, and it doesn't mean we don't have bumps in the road, but we've developed new appreciations for each other over the years. After we go through all these things, I find out more that I like about you, that I wouldn't have known just because we are having sex. The level of intimacy, Ro brought it up. That trust, that bond of trust is holding it together. I trust you. Not I lust you, I trust you. Trust, what are we talking about? We're talking about, I know that when the chips are down, this person, if anybody, is going to hold the fort. Now, does that mean I can be disrespectful? We're not talking about that. We're talking about, we've been through so many different things together. We've developed a different type of commitment.
It changes.
And it in the ebbs and flows of the relationship at year 5, year 10, year 15, year 20, year 30. It's either what's happening is there's a cord that's getting stronger and it's getting tighter. Even as we go through our problems, if we can hold on.
I was going to say, or if you made the right decision
Or
in
you
the
make-
first place,
right,
as far as the core values are concerned.
right.
Because there's some people that did not get together for maybe
right reason.
for the right reasons.
Right.
Or maybe they just weren't equally yoked and they've been trying to stick it out and you need to let it go.
Right.
But you can only determine what that is.
Right.
But even in that situation, if you start to practice a state of allowance, maybe your situation could turn around.
Will I let you be you?
Yeah. And you let me be me.
And let me be me.
And find a way to try and appreciate things about you that I haven't been willing to see before.
Right. And you know what's interesting that's happening in a lot of relationships? We're not dealing with our issues before we meet people. So now we're putting that burden, if you want to call it that, in the relationship. That's part of it. But what happens? as I start to now have to deal with it, because one thing relationships are going to do, they're going to force you to deal with stuff.
Hello.
The stuff that you didn't want to deal with. So now that I have to deal with it, I'm praying and hoping I'm with the person that, again, will allow me to now open up
Yeah.
about things I could not open up before.
Yeah.
And I would not open up before. So then again, that level of trust.
Yes.
I trust you now with these secrets that I've been holding on to for years. Go ahead.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. You've been
right.
listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Who's there?
Hey, it's Izzy Be Real. How you guys doing tonight?
All right.
Doing well. How
Welcome.
are you?
I'm blessed, giving thanks. I just wanted to chime in. I'm really enjoying what you guys are saying. I was in a relationship for 20 years, and the respect was just not there. You guys were talking about that, and I
Yes.
just wanted to chime in because I think that's so important in relationships. Mine was really deep. I basically devoted everything to this relationship. We have 5 children.
Oh, wow.
But it just ended up really sour due to domestic violence.
Okay.
Early in the relationship, there were signs, and I just kind of, I stayed. I saw the signs, but I didn't leave. I stayed in it and endured a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it changed me a lot. Now I'm, it's been like, we're pushing a year, just me by myself with the children.
Yeah.
And the brother's still real bitter. He has a lot of negative energy. But, I mean, you said something that just stood out to me. That respect has to be there from
Yes.
day one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If the respect is not there, it don't matter if it's good nookie. It don't matter if the money's there.
that.
It don't matter. None of that stuff matters
That's right.
Say
if
it.
the respect is not there.
That's right.
When we get the name calling, the hitting,
Yeah.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
like I said, I tried to, I think I stood in there as long as I could because I kept saying, this is for the children, this is for the children. And I was afraid, the fear was there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I'm just glad that I finally just said no more, and I stood up and I just said, I don't care how, and we're talking 20 years, so
Wow.
to me it didn't really matter how many years.
Right.
Yes.
I just had to, I looked at my babies and I saw their future, and I said, what kind of example am I setting for the children?
There you
Good
go.
for you, Mom.
There you go.
Especially the daughters and the sons. I have 2
Yes.
sons. It's like, I have to be the one to say, even if it hurts, hey, this is not what I want my daughters to be dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not what I want my sons to be dealing with.
Right.
And children watch everything from the womb.
Man.
They watch, they feel it, they see it, they hear it, they know.
Yes.
So even though, that you're torn because it's like, you want the children to experience their father and you want all of that, but then on the real, it's like, hey, they're going to have children.
Yeah.
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 They're going to have a future, and it's like we want to make sure that, we represent the most positive side for them. And me as the queen matriarch,
Say it.
I need them to see, this is how we do it.
I heard that.
We represent the truth, and we do it. And then the respect, like I said, that key word there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brother just did not have any respect. And
She said, did I say he didn't have any respect? Okay.
yeah, I mean,
I hear
so I
you.
just had to chime in because I was feeling you guys like, this is real. It's like I have to say something because it's just, I'm experiencing this right now. And it's
Wow.
like, I have to just cut it all off. Just cut it like, hey.
Yeah. How are you doing now? How do you feel? It's been a year. How are you feeling now that you've been away from the relationship? Do you feel empowered in some way? And if so, in what way do you feel more empowered?
You know what? I feel new. I feel brand new. I feel very empowered. I feel
Hey, now.
that Stella got a groove back type thing.
All right, now don't make me roll my shoulder in the studio.
Izzy got a groove back for sure.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really, really strong,
I love it.
independent, infinitely doing my own thing. Like I said, we went through all types of stuff, ups and downs, and I think I'm stronger now on my own and achieving and accomplishing things
Yeah, okay.
than I was when I was in the relationship. It's so interesting, and it's like, things are happening for him, and that's cool.
Okay.
But like I said, there's nothing like that peace of mind. There's nothing like of that focus, that independence, and that is the control's not there. I'm standing on my own, and I feel wonderful. The hateration energy's all out on the other side, but it don't matter. It don't matter, though.
Well, you know what?
Matter, though.
What's your name? You said Izzy?
Izzy be real. You can call
Izzy
me
be
though. It's
real.
all good.
Thank you so
Yes,
much for
I can
calling
be
in
real.
and sharing with us. I appreciate that,
Absolutely.
and so does Lim. We've been over here just
Absolutely.
shaking our head and
Man,
smiling.
I'm so proud of you.
Okay.
So thank you so
guys,
much for tuning
you did
in.
the best. All righty.
Absolutely, and all the best to you.
All righty. Peace and blessings.
Good night.
Awesome.
Man,
You said it.
the respect.
You put respect on one, baby.
That's it. And when you have children like that, sometimes the biological is not the best role model. We always say we want the family to be together, and it's absolutely true. But when you have abuse in the family, I'm a certified domestic violence counselor. When you have abuse in the family and the children are watching,
Yes.
that is setting a new paradigm for those kids.
Yeah.
Break it down. Chris Brown witnessed.
I know. And you know what? Now, see, we're about to open another can of
So
worms.
let me
but,
leave that alone.
You
But
know,
anyway.
no, we don't have to leave it alone because we're dealing with this on a mass scale now
It's
in this
serious.
country. The Ray Rice situation just blew the whole lid off the top of the thing.
Right.
But they crucified that young man for having that incident with Rihanna. And we don't really know what really was going on between that relationship and what kind of exchange they were used to having. It became very public, that's for sure. But I thought it was unfortunate that it didn't seem like, hey, what's going on with him?
Right.
Where did he what's his background?
Right.
Why did he make that choice?
Right.
And how can we help him?
Right. And the court systems have failed in that area. When it deals with domestic violence, it was in punitive terms. It wasn't in the rehabilitation of the initial problem.
Yeah.
How did he get here?
I mean, that's a very powerful, important question to me.
Huge. Because again, these courts were sending these men back into the family, giving them child custody, rights. So, but they weren't being rehabilitated.
Yeah.
I go to 52-week classes, and some of them would go in there and it was just a going through the motions thing.
Right.
I've been to those things. I've had to go to those. But I just shouts out to Izzy. 20 years? What you talking
Takes
about?
a lot of courage to do what you did.
5 kids?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
5 kids?
No, you're telling the truth.
So shouts off to her and any woman that's going through that situation.
Yes.
And any person, because men go through it too. We won't talk about that. There's domestic violence. It's a flip side now. Women are now, putting in. So, but on both sides, the country now it was forced for the first time. It was in its face.
Yes.
And through Ray Rice, NFL, they had to finally deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going to be an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. But how does that relate back to our topic?
Being equally yoked.
Right. Bringing that back, we got to rewind it. But looking at a situation like Izzy went through, and 20 years, and she's one of the examples of when we were talking about changing.
Yes.
She realized that, this is not working for me. There was no respect.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to make a change, not only for me, but for my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to hear that, because some people don't make it out. We don't hear about the statistics of the people that don't make it out.
Right.
I wrote a piece on Instagram called "Choked Out to You Blackout."
And
that's
I know you were just going in.
Yeah, I went in on that. I'm gonna leave that.
Tell them your Twitter handle again.
My Instagram is the truth 1112. The truth at 1112.
The truth
1112.
1112.
Right.
We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to come back and finish this thing out. What do you think we're going to tackle next, just to kind of keep people perched on what we're going to close out the show with?
We'll close out. I think we should close out on some of the telltale signs of looking for, when we're dating.
Yeah.
What does that look like in communicating with people?
Okay, how about that? So you've been listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. We'll be right back.
That I needed in this world, you are the one for me. One for girl, and thrill you with my charms, I'm sure. You will see. You will see. The things I am saying are true. And the way I explain them to you. Listen to me, la 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 la.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
The things I am saying are true, and the way I explain them to you, yes to you. Listen to me, la 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 la.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit XavierUSA.com. Once again, that's XavierUSA.com.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Welcome back to Perspectives Corner. What? This was my joint. What year was this? Like 90? This was 80 something, huh?
I'm about to be 89. What
Yeah,
was that?
late 80s.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That was a different
Some
era.
good songs, I'm telling you, man.
Man, I watch Unsung. I don't know y'all watch Unsung.
That's a great show.
I love that
I haven't
show.
seen any of late. I heard Johnny Gills was on
They
recently.
did Johnny Gill. They did Troop.
Did they?
Troop
How-
was this year. They
Yeah.
did Troop. It was pretty good. Yeah.
What's been your favorite unsung that you've seen so
Oh,
far?
Lord. Man, they've done so many of them.
Yeah.
I love the oldies because I wasn't born back in those days. So, like, when they go back into, like, the 60s, like, groups that should have really made it or artists that should have really made it, they did Wilson Pickett. I don't know. That's probably before y'all time. Yeah.
I mean, I remember Wilson Pickett, yeah.
Right. They did him. They did, oh, my God. It was another one they did with, he was in Wilson Pickett's biography.
I couldn't even tell you.
I couldn't tell. But it's a great show.
Yeah, I
that
love
show.
it. I remember when they showed, of course, for my favorite group, one of them, DeBarge. I learned
that was
so
one
much
of the
about
first ones.
them.
I love that one. That
I
was
was
one of
like,
my
wow,
favorites.
yeah. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we have been talking about being equally yoked. We've had some great dialogue,
Yes.
some great callers,
Yes.
great questions on the table. And we're getting ready to close out the show talking about communication.
Yeah.
And also some telltale signs for how to date and find someone equally yoked.
Well,
what were you saying?
Well, the communication factor and how that plays in a part of how we perceive people and what our objectives are.
Okay.
When we meet an individual. So, I noticed that, like I said again, when we go out on dates, it's an interesting dynamic of trying to really get a feel for the person.
Yeah.
And at the same time, again, these competing thoughts of where I'm at in my life and what I want and what I don't want to experience based upon where I've been and what I'm trying to probably experience with this person. I talked about this before. I don't know if you remember this, Ro. I talked about how women have the biological clock thing.
Yeah.
And I wrote about a piece about how it's basically it says that, when a woman dates, she's more looking at this guy has to be the one. I'm hoping he's the one, Whereas
we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. Whereas men, we don't feel that as much. Mm-hmm. And not all, I'm not saying this is generalizing, but we don't have that. We can more freestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all women feel that way, but I'm saying that underlying that, I told my girlfriend I'm going out on this date with this guy. The hype that women bring up to a situation. It's a lot of hype involved. Everybody knows you're going out. It's just it's this big event. You done told everybody. All this guy. Some. But I mean, the general thing is that you communicate a lot about this. So what I'm saying is that to try to curtail that, to trying to get to know who's before me, without getting involved in all the ambiance of the situation. Mm-hmm. We went to Mastros, we went to Chin Chins. Take all that out of it because that's part of the event. Take the event out of it and what are we really doing here? What is the focus and the direction of this conversation? What do I want it to be? What do I hope to accomplish when we first go out?
So that's more of an internal dialogue, not necessarily something you kind of lay out on the table. Like, look, this is what I need to know from you. Right. You just want to come in. Are you suggesting, I should say, that the person had this internal dialogue? Like, what do I want to accomplish with this date?
Right.
Or is it more, I guess you're saying be more pointed and more clear.
More clear, because what we do is we freestyle through the dating process now. We're very blasé. Mm-hmm. And we find ourselves, going physical before we've had a chance to process who the person is. We've already had sex with them. We've already done things with them. We have emotions and feelings involved, but we have not put our finger on what in the hell are we doing? Are we just
and why?
Are we just floating? We just go, how long we gonna float?
Right. Come on, you need to be playing that song underneath.
Yeah, how long? So, and then when the miscommunication comes up after we have a physical connection to the person, guess what? Now I'm attached to someone I haven't even communicated with properly, and that's a whole nother problem. Now what I do? Mm-hmm. Now what we gonna do? I have feelings for you, but I don't even know you. And
really?
This is what's happening a lot of times when people go out on dates.
And possibly confusing being physical with knowing someone.
Or loving someone.
Yeah.
And then the surprises come up. Oh, I didn't know about that.
We have another caller. You're listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett, who's there.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Oh, my gosh.
Yo, in the building. Grown man in the building.
Wait, who is this?
You know who the hell this is, goddammit.
Now I'm feeling bad. Who is this?
What? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, gosh.
Shy Bucks.
What?
Bucks.
Oh, you got me.
This Aaron. What you talking about?
Yo! Oh my gosh! You listening from the ATL?
This for real.
Wow.
This the reason the niggas create treason.
Hold on. What you doing on my phone? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's great to hear your voice. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard your voice in a minute, man.
I wanted to put myself on the radio lines. I talked to my boy, Shy Bugs.
Oh my gosh! So Shaquem knew, man. Okay, so come on, Aaron. I know you want to drop some science on us at the end of the show. How are you going to contribute to this conversation?
What are you talking about? I create science.
I know, man. For real, he does. It's pretty exceptional individual we're talking to right now. This man writes, what is it? Language for computers.
Right, code.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, he's
I
no
write
joke.
code.
I love it.
That's
You're no
properly
joke.
stated.
Okay, so drop some science on me.
I mean, science is deep. So tell me what area of science you would like me to drop.
Well, we're talking about being equally yoked, and in this particular moment,
And you know what? When I first saw that, I reposted it on my page.
Did you?
Immediately. 'Cause
Yes.
It resonated with me.
All right.
Yeah.
Yoking, right? Let's say we put 2 yaks out in the field,
Okay.
and we put a yoke on them, and they were going to pull through the field. If they weren't evenly yoked, one would do all the pulling, and one would kind of get over it.
Okay.
I mean, that's the truth, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
So, if we really look at it from that perspective, if I'm going to join in a mutual yoking situation,
Say it with your
there's
chest.
a bar between my chest and your chest, and we're going to yoke. We're going to pull
Yes.
something through a field. I would want you to be not necessarily as strong, but close.
Okay.
Can you be close?
What are some of the characteristics that you think make someone equally yoked? We have another caller coming in right now. Hold the line.
Wow.
If you could throw out a couple things that you feel, or do you think there are a couple characteristics? Uh-oh. Did we get the other?
Oh, I could be very specific.
Okay, yeah. Give me a couple.
Intellect. If you are not equally yoked on my level, and just to say you're not equally yoked with me on intellect today doesn't mean that you couldn't.
You want the
know,
potential.
get stronger, be better. I'm just saying, I've been living for a longer time, and maybe you're not yoked like me. It's okay. It's all right. Or maybe I'm not yoked like you. Maybe you got something more that you bring to the table that I don't. But at the same time, if we're gonna pull through this field,
Yeah.
and that's what yoking is, right? At the end of the day, we put something on an animal and allow it to drag through a field. That's what yoking is.
You know what, Aaron? You kind of reiterated what was discussed earlier in a sense, because even though you may not have the same level of whatever that thing is that you value, you still are looking for what drives you. What drives you is an intellectual characteristic. And so even though that person may not be on your level,
you got to be intellectually yoked.
Right.
You don't have to be physically yoked. I don't need a girl to be able to bench press 500 because I can bench press 500.
But there may be someone else who values, weightlifting and a certain kind of physique, and they're saying, "Hey, maybe you don't have the same look that I have, or the same, but at least it's something that you're interested in, or at least it's something that, and we can connect on that."
Right.
Okay, brother, I think I got somebody else on the other line, but thank you for calling.
I love calling in, and I love both of y'all, and I wish you the best in everything you do.
You too. Thank you.
Sure.
Bad. You're listening to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Who's there?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh my goodness, Trey! I should have known we were going to get the weekly call.
Oh yeah.
What's cracking, brother?
Yeah, man, you definitely equally yoked. But anyway.
You said what? With your Louisiana accent?
Yeah. I said, man, you definitely equally yoked.
Who, me and you?
Somebody who was in a relationship for like 40 years. And they had 6 kids, and they just decided to part ways. And I'm like, y'all got so much, bills on. And the youngest one is like 5 years old.
Wow. Did you feel like you were wondering why would you leave, or could you see why they left one another?
Well, I was trying to really figure out what was going on, but I guess they were saying that the feeling, I guess the intimacy is not really working like it used to.
Yeah.
That what the man told me.
Got it. Well, it could be, I don't know if it was the same type of situation, but if somebody just might need to leave for their own reasons, you never know why they stuck it out. The kids, if they got 6 kids, sometimes people will stay. Quite possibly when they got together, though, they didn't get together for all of the right reasons, or they didn't find the things that were driving each other. It wasn't enough of that to sustain them in times like these, because it's going to change.
It's going to change.
That's inevitable.
Right.
Everything changes. So, I think it's huge that you brought that up. What's driving you and having enough of those things on the same plate with each other is what's going to help you navigate those moments when things change.
Right.
Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you and stuff for calling. Thank you for calling.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time, darling. Bye. Lim, this has been wonderful.
It's great, Ro. I love the callers. Loved it.
Everything. So I guess I'm going to have to have you back.
Please. Absolutely.
We always have great conversation.
We do. This is wonderful.
Should people be looking out for anything from you?
I want to just tell them to hold tight. They've been asking me about books. They be asking me about just hold tight. It's coming. God is doing great things. I'm telling you.
You're working.
I'm
and you look great. You look like you're taking care of yourself.
I try.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Shakim. Thank you, as always, for holding down the boards and being fabulous and giving us wonderful ear candy for the show. Thank you to all of the callers who contributed to the conversation tonight. And I'll see you guys back here next week. Isn't that dang? It's going to be a new month.
Yeah, October.
Heller. Okay, and visit me at RhonaBennett.com when you get a chance. Check out the books that I've written. Soon. Gosh, I can't wait till I can say it's here. But the paperback copies of Beyond a Wish, How to Discover the Champion Within, will be in. But for now, you can get your digital copy online anywhere or almost anywhere and enjoy the read. So until next time, thank you so much. Peace.
Radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Right by my side, you are my love, you are my heaven, you are my love, make me sing, da-da-da, you are my love, you are my heaven, darling, I won't let them take, darling, I won't let them take, darling, I won't let them take you away.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.